Hey guys, it's here. Welcome to this Hall of Fame interview. And I'm here with Shreya Sharan Pawar, who is from Delhi. Shreya, great to have you here. The beautiful thing about this journey is that Shreya got into our community last year in June. And she started to get more active in the last 8 to 9 months. And she's been able to achieve over 9 lakhs by helping solo womenpreneurs launch their business. So she has a community called the Womanpreneur Academy, where she's on a mission to help women launch their business and be successful. She has she has around 175 paid students, and she's here in the Hall of Fame. So Shreya, great to have you here, and amazing achievement.
Thank you so much. So I had always wanted to get into this space, but somehow I never knew how to do it till I came across the whole concepts that you were sharing. So otherwise, I think even if people aspire to get into coaching, they really have no framework of how do you actually get into it. And that is something that I was struggling with.
So when you got in last year, were you already a coach or were you just starting off?
Actually, no, I had a slightly different journey. For 8 years, I had been running my own handmade bath and body brand.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm an army wife. So the only prerequisite for any business that I could do was something that I should be able to do it online.
Okay.
So I had a workshop in Pune, and I used to manage the marketing of all of that from wherever it was that my husband was posted. So sometimes we were in some far-flung place in Assam. Sometimes we were in some other corner of the world. But the only consistent thing that I did was I was building it on social media. So that's where I learned all of the skills of building a business online. So how do you use social media to build? How do you use email marketing? How do you build your own website? So I learned all of that hands-on. And thanks to the grace of God, I got featured on a lot of different platforms. My work got featured on quite a few places. So people started to reach out to me, asking me for advice on starting businesses. So that's when I realized, yeah, India mein there is no help. Even like when I had to get into, when I needed some support, that time I had to enroll in for coaching programs which were outside India. So there were some programs that I had enrolled, especially for women entrepreneurs, and they were all outside India. There was nothing in India. And I realized that people are really struggling because there is no option of that sort. So what I started to do was that wherever we went, whether I was in Pune, whether I was any small place that I went, I used to start building a small little mastermind there.
Okay.
I mean, there was nothing, no financial involvement, nothing. But my aim was just to get together few aspiring women and say meet on a regular basis. And I would take sessions on, how do you create a Facebook page? How do you use Facebook? That is when I started to realize as to what it is that people need. And I think that was where the groundwork started. Yeah, this is something that I could do.
Which year was this? In 2019, 2020? When was this?
No, this was at least 2018. 19 or so.
Then, so during this time, your other brand was still running. Is it your?
Yes. That was my full time. That was my full time work. So this was just something that I was doing on the side. I could never really give coaching too much time because the manufacturing business is very, very intensive. So, but in 2020 March, when COVID hit, I had to close my workshop. Because my staff went back home to their villages in Maharashtra, and I closed my workshop. And coincidentally, I think when one door closes, the other opens. I happened to come across a session that you were taking in some online program. I don't even remember the name of the program. But what I do remember feeling was that this guy can help me get what I want. And I have to be very honest, till then, I don't think so I'd come across anybody who I thought I would be able to look up to, who could guide me on my journey. And so you were the first person. I saw that program of yours, and that day itself, I enrolled in your in ILH.
Thank you. And is your other business still running, or is it?
No, unfortunately not. Because of the circumstances of things, COVID, I'm not really able to travel to my workshop. It's going to take a while
Okay, got
Maybe
it.
I may not restart it because of personal reasons as well.
Okay.
But this is what now coaching is what I'm doing full time. I'm loving it. I'm loving the difference that you can make for
Yes.
people. And initially that was not the reason that I got into it. Initially,
Okay.
I think the reason was just, okay, you know, I get an opportunity to talk, but
Yes.
I get an
Yes.
opportunity to share. But I think when I see people getting results, now I think my motive for doing this is changed entirely.
Amazing.
So
It's been a beautiful, amazing journey. So what happened, like when you already had knowledge in marketing and business setup and all the stuff before you came to the community?
yeah.
After you came into ILH, what did you see a shift in you in terms of knowledge and mindset? Like in the first 3 to 6 months, what were you able? Can you recollect and tell me last year what were you going through at that time?
So mindset was a mindset. I have always been a firm believer in mindset. But
Okay.
when I hear you speak, you know, that's kind of a reaffirmation of what needs to be done. So same, maybe there are small things that I haven't been doing. But every time that I hear you, you know, whether in our inner circle calls, that's, you know, that is like, okay, you know, Shreya karna hai. you need to kind of get to it again. That what I benefited from a lot were how do you is the practice of teaching. Like we all have knowledge, but how do you transform that knowledge into curriculum which can be transformative for our community members? So it's not about just giving information, which okay, information to mil jayega, but like they can YouTube it, but how do you get them to implement it?
Okay.
So that's one of the biggest takeaways that I've had. And your whole community building as to how you do it. I've not seen anybody else do a community building the way you do it. And I really look up to you for that.
Thank you. No, really appreciate that. So the curriculum thing helped you. And when did you start getting the first sales? At which month did it start coming in? Like you said, you got in.
May.
So June 2020, you got in. So then June, July. So that was some time where you're probably.
I did one webinar. I did one webinar in the month of September.
Okay.
September end, I did like one webinar. I had set up all of my systems, but unfortunately, I went through some very personally. I went through some very difficult stages in my life. I lost my younger brother last year, and then I also had, you know, unfortunately in the month of January, I also had a miscarriage. So it was a time where I think I was at the lowest in my life. So I took a break for 6 months. But then, you know what? It's the ILH community members who helped me get out of it and got me to get back on my feet. Otherwise, I think I would have just been wallowing in grief and wallowing in this thing. But it's definitely all the friends that I made in that, you know, the hackathon friends that I made.
Yes. Any specific names you want to mention, like people who helped you during that phase?
Divya, she's a mindset coach. She was my accountability buddy. We completed the hackathon together. Then Sudhi was Sudhindra, he was this thing. He's also
leadership coach. Yes.
Yeah. So he is definitely one of them who I reach out to. Salma, all of us, we were in the same hackathon. Yeah. So these are the guys who I've always been, you know, on call with. You know, pumping me, no, now you need to get started. And I think that's the beauty of a community, and that's why you need a community, because sometimes when you try to do things yourself, it kind of, life can take you kind of up and down. So you need help to kind of come up, and that's when you need people who are similarly motivated as you, who can pull you through. So what you're doing is really amazing.
Thank you. I mean, I'm so glad that the community helped you and when you were in those moments. And then so you actually restarted this year. So probably when April, May this year. May onwards. Okay, so May onwards. So so what has been your model? So you did the webinars. You followed all the steps like influence building, getting people to your webinar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I do. Initially, I was doing one live webinar a week consistently. I remember there was this one day where I had a live webinar scheduled for the afternoon, and I'd been at the hospital for 5 hours. So I got back home just about an hour before the webinar. And I was exhausted. I didn't have the energy to do the webinar. And I kept wondering, should I cancel it? And then, this part of me said, no, those are the people who are putting their faith in you showing up, and you better show up. And I did. I showed up. And guess what? There were just 10 people in the webinar. So the moment I saw, okay, sirf 10 लोग हैं इसमें तो कोई sale होने नहीं वाली है, my heart kind of sank. But again, this other part of me said, no, Shreya, they're here and you need to give them the best value of their time. Screw the sale, I don't bother about the sale at all. Do you know how many people bought in that webinar? Out of 10 people, 4 people bought in that webinar.
Yeah, those are the webinars when you completely drop the expectations, right? Yes. That's where the magic is. Yeah. So amazing. So that was your first webinar when you launched? Or
no, that was, it must have been like the 4th webinar.
4th or 5th. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then how did it, how is the momentum building right now? So one webinar to the next, how have your skills improved? Were you confident in selling before this, or did you have to go through some?
I had no clue of selling before this. So your webinar selling formula is something, I don't know how many times I would have watched it. I have attended your live webinars. I don't know how many times. Even now I attend your webinars just to see how you're doing things differently. And I feel that every time that I attend your webinar and then I go do my webinar, my webinars are much better.
Okay, nice. Great. So you had to go through it. So, a webinar selling formula. Now you're confident in selling. You don't feel, and there's no resistance there.
No, sometimes, but I think that's just like a thing that you need to kind of overcome. I have resistance every time I think I increase my prices. So I've increased my price till now. So every time that I do that, I feel like, oh my God, what am I doing? Oh my God, is this going to work or not? But
I'll give you a quick tip on that. Whenever I also used to feel that, but every time I felt bad about increasing, or a little queasy about increasing price, if conversion would go down, I would go and buy something. I would go and invest in some program. So then I feel, okay, I've invested, so now then I would increase the price.
Yeah.
So that way it, you get that, you feel congruent, that yes.
Yes, I think I've heard you say this somewhere as well, that you have the moral authority to charge how much you invest in your own self-development.
Yes.
So you can increase your prices.
See, I have two theories. Okay. The first theory is how much ever you have spent in your total personal development overall, that's how much you should be making per month. Okay, so I've invested like over 1 crore in personal development. I'm making that, per month. And how much, what was the highest ticket product that you have ever bought? You have the authority to charge the same to others. So these are the
we'll get there
two
soon.
ideas. Yeah, two ideas. Okay, superb. So
definitely.
Now let's talk about technology system implementation. How did that go for you? In terms of all the tools that I recommend, like you've also done digital marketing and stuff in the past. So what differences have you seen? How has this process helped you? Let us know about that. Yeah.
So I'm a tech junkie. I love experimenting with tools, and I love doing all of that. So yes, I've tried out all the tools that you've recommended, and I've tried out more over and above that as well. And then I've kind of found like a common ground. Like I use Webinar Jam and Webinar. Initially, I was using Zoom. Though my conversions were higher in Zoom because I used to do a much longer webinar in Zoom. My webinar used to be about 2.5 hours, where I would have people switch on their cameras. I would make them do a few exercises. So the way Blair Singer makes us go through his training, so I used to do something similar in my webinars, and those used to convert very well. But now, because I can't see people on Webinar Jam, my conversions have definitely dropped a little. But I'm hoping that the whole automations that kind of work in the background, that will cover up for it. So the tools I'm using, almost the same tools as
ConvertKit,
I've kind
Teachable,
of like,
all of that.
I'm not using Teachable. I'm using an alternative because I wanted an app for my students as well.
Yes. So awesome. So Spay, right? Spay or Newsendler, which one are you using?
No, I have Spay, but I'm not using that. There was another tool that had come in recently called GuruCan. So I was testing that. Initially, I didn't have many expectations out of it, but it's working pretty well right now. So I'm going to stay with it for a while, as long as it does
Excellent.
well.
Great.
Otherwise, everything else, Zapier, say Zapier, Pabbly, ConvertKit, what else?
And webinar.
I'm following your systems to the to the T. So
amazing. And now, how does it feel that you're building communities? Now you have a community of 175 students. How has things shifted in you personally now that you have to show up every week for the community, not the sales calls? I'm talking about the community building, inner circle calls. How has that process helped you grow, and what has it done to you as a person?
Initially I was very hesitant about committing myself to a weekly call. It was like, oh my God, how am I going to manage this with my lifestyle? But now it's totally transformed. I look forward. So I have my inner circle calls every Friday. So I have one today in the afternoon. Now I look forward to it. And my community is actually the place where I can be totally raw. They are totally open with me. And it's not just I get recharged as much as they get recharged. And when you hear such amazing things from them, like in the last inner circle call, somebody said to me, Shreya, you are a part of our family, and everybody in my family knows who Shreya is. You're the only Shreya. You're the one and only. And I'm like, oh, really?
Wow.
So when you hear something like this, it kind of strengthens your resolve that no matter what it is, you have to be there without it feeling like a burden. So I really look forward to my community to attending those inner circle calls. I really look forward, like today I'm really looking forward to giving them something that they can start the new year with a lot of josh tomorrow.
And you're always thinking, right, what next can you do for them?
What next? Yes,
that itself is so transformative. Even for me, like before inner circle calls, sometimes I don't have any plan before the inner circle call. Maybe 30 minutes before, something will hit my mind, and then I'll decide to roll it out on the inner circle call days. So that's the beauty. We're always thinking in terms of community, and that changes. And so tell me, I mean, overall, before Internet Lifestyle Hub, now after coming into the community, like what are your top 3 major shifts that you have experienced as a person in your personal life? Overall, your top 3 shifts that you've experienced.
I think giving more than expecting. So giving unconditionally, and just trying to be there. So that's definitely one of the aspects of this thing. The second is community over competition. The way I've seen the kind of support that community members have here. I mean, everybody's so open and sharing. It's not like, oh my God, you're going to be the next competitor. Nobody brings that in here. That's the same thing that I'm also promoting in my community. And actually, there's a reason why, because I had a very unfortunate incident regarding this when I started my first business. It was, I had reached out to somebody else, another lady who was also doing something similar. And I didn't get any help from there. It was like, I would reach out to people saying that, hey, let's collaborate. We both are in the same field. Let's collaborate. And people used to be very hesitant about collaborating. And that's where I realized that, no, listen, this is something wrong. There is something wrong with this kind of an approach. And if I really look at it, I ran my business for 8 years, doing very well. Those guys, they shut shop in like 2 to 3 years. So this is, and then I saw this again in your community as well. And now this is something that I also encourage. Like, it's one of the code of honors for my community over competition, that you have to be there for each other. It's like a sisterhood that you need to have.
Amazing.
So that's definitely one of them, how it's impacted me. And secondly, I think I'm always also looking at how can I improve myself as a person, because till I don't grow, my business doesn't grow. So initially, like, if say personal development was about say 30 to 40% of my focus, I think that's really amped it up to about at least 80% of my focus now.
Wow, that's good. So the personal development, the community angle, and the whole aspect of service and giving back, like these are the 3 things that you are able to get benefited from. How is it now in your personal life? Like, what does your husband say about this, and the family side? Now that you're going from one business model to the other business model, training, coaching, what has been the views from that side?
My husband's very supportive. So he's as excited about my webinars as I am. Then
nice.
even when he's in office, he'll call me up to ask me, how did your webinar go?
Wow,
so
nice.
Those are small things. Parents and all, yes, somewhere I think they say, I think you were always meant to be a teacher.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of I think they're all as excited about something new that I'm trying, and I think they can see the change that I'm bringing about. So when they see good feedback, I share the testimonials that I get, I share that with them, and I think that makes them extremely proud as well.
Fantastic, Shreya. I mean, great to know. It's been an amazing journey, and you're just getting warmed up now. Last 8 months. I think next year, same time, you're going to be like going so much more faster in every area of your business. Those of you here watching, if you're inspired by this, in the link in my YouTube description, there's a link to her Womanpreneur Academy. Go and check it out. Especially if you're a woman, you want to get to know more about how to launch your business. Solo womanpreneurs, connect with Shreya and see what you can learn from her. And if you'd like to be a part of the Internet Lifestyle Hub, you can go to internetlifestylehub.com. We have like over 15,000 members in our community, and people from all walks of life who are coming in and taking their passion and making it into a profitable knowledge business. And we'd like to have you on board. And, Shreya, what would you say? What would you say to people who are watching, who may be thinking, okay, I'm not sure if I can do this, or I'm not sure if I can teach, or okay, maybe Shreya can do it, but I don't know if it's for me. So what message do you have for people like that?
I would say that if self-doubt is that one thing which is holding you back, there's one very famous saying, when you truly go after something without any self-doubt, the universe will help you achieve it.
Absolutely.
So throw that self-doubt out of the window. Of course, it never really goes away, but you should always know how to trash it every time that it does come up, and you'll find your way.
Absolutely. So, rightly said. And I like to ask this question at the end of all the Hall of Fame, which is, based on all your learnings, your life experiences, all the personal development that you've been through, if you have to bring it down to one success principle that you live by and you'll continue to live by for the rest of your life, what is your one success principle?
It would be to keep your energy high. And I think if you work with that one intention, if you work, you'll make sure that you have everything else right. You'll focus on your health, you'll focus on your mindset, you'll focus on giving, because all of them kind of contribute to increasing your energy. And your energy affects your vibe, and that affects your influences your tribe.
Absolutely.
So that's important. So keep your energy high.
Amazing.
Keep your energy high. That's it.
Great, Shreya. It was an amazing interview. Congratulations. Looking forward to interviewing you next in the Crore Club as you enter that.
Thank you so much.
And
thank you so much.
I think the work that you're doing is really going to make a difference to so many women. Now you have like 175 women in your community, and as you start to reach out to thousands, I mean, right now you're only looking at 175, but it's actually 175 families that will get impacted, and it's the ripples that are created after that. So more power to you. Keep doing what you're doing, and looking forward to seeing you grow, and just always there to help you, support you in whatever way I can. Keep inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.